Welcome to Open Vibes with your host, Denmika Eugene. Good evening, and welcome you guys. I am here live with Salaam Muhammad, and the artist. I'm so excited to have you as a guest. So welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. It's my pleasure. I mean, anytime someone reaches out to me to be on a platform, to ask me questions and get to know my background and so forth, I'm humble and it's an honor on my end. So thank you.
Oh, you are very welcome. This is exciting because, I mean, your art is amazing. It's exciting. It brings a different perspective to the art world. So tell us a little bit about who is Salaam Muhammad? What's your brand?
Who is Salaam Muhammad? What's my brand? That's a good question. So, okay, of course, my name's Salaam Muhammad. As an artist, I've been painting now for going on about, I would say 12, 13 years, 9 years, professional, so basically my platform and the foundation of my artwork is the liberation of our people, and particularly primarily Black people, from our culture, what we see, what we like, from music all the way to spirituality, religion, the different nuances and components that make up us as Black people. So when you look at the art of Salaam Muhammad, you see that in real time. You see deeper layers. You see a surrealistic platform. You see realistic. You see so many things that's in representation of ourselves. So my job is to highlight us in my artwork. And that's the foundation of me as an artist.
Wow. I mean, and you do it very well. I can tell you're very meticulous about the pieces that you do. Mm-hmm. They're breathtaking.
Thank you.
That's the only thing I can say about it. I saw you live one night. Mm-hmm. And you were doing like live, and you were just painting and talking to guests, and it was just so nice. And then I went to my sister's house. I'm gonna tell you how this came full circle. I went to my sister's house last weekend or weekend before last. And she said, I ordered this print, and she unrolls this print. I said, wait a minute, I know who that artist is. And so sure enough, I went on Instagram. I was like, see, I told you, I follow him and he does live time to time. And, and I was like, I gotta have him on the show. We gotta share this with people, expose more to the culture. And as soon as I go live, my lawn man showed up. So I'm sorry. So what was your first painting?
That's a good question. My first painting or my first mainstream painting?
Let's go back to your first painting. The first thing that gave you that spark.
Man. So okay, well, it's more background to the first painting. So I would say the first painting. I mean, I remember just back in 2008 when I got started looking at artists like Kadir Nelson and Frank Morrison, and I used to copy their paintings and like practice doing their pieces. So my first painting was doing a Frank Morrison painting. And I remember I was in Daytona Beach, Florida with my mother at the time. And my mother basically, she came in the room and she said, I picked up these little small time brushes and paints from Walmart. I'm just like, I was on a bus one time and I was drawing. I had a drawing pad. All I used to do was draw, pencil, color pencils, whatever, right? I never got into painting. So there was an elderly lady on the bus and she said, have you ever picked up the paintbrush and painted? In my mind, I've heard people tell me this before, like, you should paint, but it still was like, how do you take this paintbrush, right, and do this masterpiece? I'm used to having so much more control with a pencil and other things. So basically, I went to Walmart, I got these paints, and I went back home. And like I said, I always used to see Frank Morrison's paintings. Mm-hmm. I started doing, the first painting I did it was one of Frank Morrison's pieces. I forgot the name of it, but it was a little girl and she had a blow dryer up to her hair. and you see all the little things in the background of what's in her room and stuff. So I just thought it was like the coolest piece, And I
Yeah.
did that. My mother came in the room and she was just like, "Keep on doing it. You got it. You got it."
Yeah.
So from there, that was the start. Frank Morrison and Kadir Nelson, Andrew Nichols. These were the individuals, Edwin Lester. These were Black artists, or is Black artists as of now in our community, who you would see their pieces all back in the 90s in Black homes. And they were an inspiration to me. And, two or three of them right now, Kevin Wack Williams, they are my motivation, and they, time to time, I reach out to them, they reach out to me, and we just feed off of each other like that, So
I love it.
and yeah, so basically, that was my first piece. And throughout time, it was like I needed to establish who I am as an artist. What is my creativity? And I learned from them, and it just spinned off from there.
Okay, so with that, what was your first piece that you actually painted then?
Okay, so my first piece went mainstream that I first painted was Brown Sugar. Brown Sugar is a lover's painting, and my favorite movie of all time is Brown Sugar. So I wanted to do this piece. One thing about me is like, of course, I believe the power of love, the whole nine, right? And I wanted to show a piece of where a Black couple is in a mood where they're relaxed, right? And we know conversations are easier to have when we are relaxed and we are in the best setting, So basically, I said, I just want to show that peaceful mode right there of a Black man and a Black woman who loves each other. And these are smiles on their faces. And you could tell that her smile and the way she touches him, she's adoring him, the whole nine, So, it's almost like creating a love song,
Okay.
And I wanted to do that with one of my first mainstream pieces titled Brown Sugar.
Wow. So is that print up on your site?
It's not up on my site. Right now, I'm gonna tell you what happened. Right, I normally don't disclose this, but so to say in the interview, I'm gonna let you know. So it's crazy. At the time, what I was doing was, I was getting prints of my artwork, but come to find out, like, the cameras and the different technology that I was using wasn't high quality to produce the greatest of prints at that time. That was back in 2012, 2013. Right. Okay. So I would take these pictures off my smartphone and stuff. And, the quality of the cameras of the smartphones back then wasn't all that high, So come to find out years later, they were like, I would take this print or this file to the printing companies. And they said, this is not a large enough file.
Okay.
So I didn't want to just advertise one size all the time. I wanted to, do different sizes. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to discontinue it for now until I find a way to actually get it to be a larger size, or we find a way to, skillfully reproduce it and then go ahead and mass release it again. So that's what happened with that. So that one is not on my website, but every other one is.
Okay. And you know what? I'm really glad you said that, because sometimes when we look at other people and we're like, oh, they're doing it big, but you're talking about coming from, humble beginnings. And this is what I was doing initially until we find a better way of doing things. Exactly. So, and it happens for a lot of us like that. Like we're doing, despise not small beginnings. Small beginnings, it's okay. And this is where we are and we grow from there.
Can I, before you go to your next question, can I say something to what you just said?
Yes.
The reality of things is like, we see everything around us, right? We see all these big companies, these buildings. We see everything that America has to offer to us, that basically, we bathe in the ambiance of that. We marvel over these things and we think subconsciously like, oh, this stuff already been here. Technically, no, they had their grassroots start too. We just weren't there to see their grassroots start.
Exactly.
So when we go back to ourselves, I've learned whatever resources you have unto yourself, use that initially to start whatever you have as a foundation, what you have in your mind, as your career or something you want to pursue in life. So and then from there, it's almost like the analogy of the man that's on the side of the road, and you see him pushing that vehicle, but then you see another man down the street and you see him with a sign like, hey, I need help. Who you gonna help more? You're gonna help the person that's pushing the vehicle because you see him doing something. Yes. So technically, when you're doing something and we're in motion, people start to come and they start to flock. They're like, oh, this thing is taking off here. Let us continue.
Yes.
And now we start to grow throughout time. So that's
That's
how
really
it works for me, you know.
Yes, that's really good. I really like that, and I'm glad you're bringing a light on that. And and not to deviate from you or take from you or the conversation, but I'm noticing a lot of people, like even with Instagram or even on social media, they're like not what they are, and I'm like,
Mm,
just be you, and it's okay to, but as long as, like you said, you're doing something, you're making progression, you're moving forward, you're doing something with it.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. So when did you sell your first painting?
Mm. My first painting, and this was like a small time piece. I remember I was in Atlanta, Georgia back in 2008.
Okay.
And I went. My uncle, he took me to. I think it was a what was it? I believe it was some type of carnival or some type of event where you had vendors, you had different people doing different things. Where I told myself, my uncle said we're gonna go down there the next day. And he's like, if you want, bring your little, your paintings that you got. These were like small time pieces on art boards. This wasn't nothing of what I have right now.
Okay.
So basically, he was like, bring your pieces, and I'm like, all right. So I go there and I put all my pieces down on the ground. I'm in the middle. Like, you got people dancing over here. I go into the crowd and I put all my pieces down on the ground, and they're coming over. They're looking at how much is this one, how much is that one. I don't have no cards. I don't have anything. I'm just like, that's $50. And they like I'll take it. So that was the first time I sold a piece, and I just wanted to test the waters, right? I just wanted to see what people flock, what they think about the artwork, and so forth. And of course, it was a good response from me doing that. So that was the first time I sold a piece, 2008 in Atlanta, Georgia.
I love it. So how did that make you,
Say it again.
how did that make you feel?
Uh, it really made me feel good because it was like, if I could sell this piece, I know I can go higher. I know I can go ahead and do greater works and achieve a greater goal, right? So the stereotype of growing up in a hood and stuff like that. Basically, no one actually told me like you could be a millionaire from your art. You know,
Mhm.
because the culture of art is not prominent like that amongst the Black community. So really, it was like me. This was a hobby to me. This was me in a fifth floor window, just drawing pictures, looking at people outside, and just was like, I love doing this. It's my passion. So when I actually sold a piece, it made sense to me beyond what anybody was telling me that I can make a real career out of this. And it was just exciting from there. So many levels in my mind and took off. And I just took it full force.
I absolutely love it. I know, because we're not from and not to knock our people. I think now we're getting to that point, but in the
Mhm.
past, we weren't from a place of you can go higher.
Exactly.
We were from a place of you go get a job, you
Mhm.
graduate from high school, you go get a job and stay on that job and do an IRA and you get your retirement. And that's the mindset of the people. But for you to see greater and you to have that vision, I think that's really magnificent.
Exactly. And
So,
and mhm,
mhm,
go ahead. you know,
go
I
ahead.
look at history. When we study and we learn from those who are successful or who were successful in the past, we start to get the formula.
Yes.
There's billionaires right now who never went to college. Let me talk, and white billionaires, from all different races, they're making it happen. And when you realize, like, hold on, we breathe the same air. You know what I'm saying? We live in the same country. So unbeknownst or unknown to other people, there's 196,940,000 square miles of this planet Earth. And every
Mhm.
nook and cranny of this planet Earth, there's opportunity to go after, right? When you understand that there's more to offer than that 20 or 30-mile radius that you go back and forth from every day, then you realize, whoa, that your faith starts to increase. And you realize I can achieve what I didn't really know I could accomplish or achieve, from looking at just a 30 or 40-mile radius around me. You start to explore, and you're like, hold on, people think differently in another part of the earth, than how we think. Someone may look at you and like, hold on, yo, she's the greatest queen in the world. You know, someone else may look at you from around the way, around the block, and just be like, oh, no, that's such and such. You know what I mean? So the thing is, that's how we got to look at ourselves and understand that when it comes down to our business, when it comes down to our worth and what we can accomplish in this life. When you see yourself on that higher level, then there's nothing that can stop you. Yeah.
Definitely. And, exposure for us is key to our growth. And I was having a conversation with my friend earlier, and she's a teacher, and the students were telling her, hey, I've never eaten sushi. We're not eating that, and she's like, no, I'm going to expose you to it. I'm going to bring you some so you can taste it. How can you grow if you stay in a bubble? You need to step out and get outside of your comfort zone so you can see more and experience more.
That's the fact. So that is
definitely exposure is key. And sometimes, in our culture, we weren't exposed, but we're getting exposed. And I'm loving it. I'm loving the shift that it's bringing. I'm loving the people pushing each other versus putting limits on each other.
That's true. That's true.
So here's a question for you. Please, share your spiritual beliefs and how does it impact your artistry?
Okay, so my spiritual beliefs. So I'm a Muslim in the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the leadership of the Honorable Ms. Louis Farrakhan. And from that leadership and from that perspective of being part of the Nation of Islam taught me my value and taught me my worth. Beyond what any other institute, beyond what any other school or neighborhood or people were teaching, it taught me who I am, who I belong to and how far I can go. And when I realized, the knowledge of myself, that's when I started to apply that within my artwork. I wanted people to see who we are as kings and queens. I have a series called Crown Me Lord. And then I have another series called Past and Future Queens, Past and Future Kings. I want us to see us in a light of royalty. So I went to a museum back in 2017 in New York. I think it was the Metropolitan Art Museum, right? And I think 85% of the paintings that you see in that museum is all of European culture from the 1800s, 1700s and below, and what you see spirituality or religion of Christianity and other different sectors. You see that being pushed off through white people, and really it was like, well, we don't see no black faces. So the thing to me was like, if you only seeing white faces, then you don't really believe or subconsciously what it's doing is putting an image in your mind that, okay, we can't be moral like this. We can't be holy like this. We can't be right. This is them and we're cursed or something like that. And so the goal in the art is to show us who we are, our divinity and who we belong to. And when we can acknowledge that subconsciously, people 9 times out of 10, the majority of people are not going to go to my art and be like, okay, I see it. You know what I mean? They're going to go to it and it's going to put a subconscious image in their mind, and throughout time, what happens is scientifically, the more you see something, the more, if you're not conscious of it or stop it, you start to portray that, start to show up in your actions and your ways. Sometimes a mental thought could be placed upon, your child before they come into the world from in your womb as a mother. So basically we're in the works of doing something consciously and working on the mind subconsciously. This is scientific at the end of the day. So that's why, being a part of the Nation of Islam, it did that for me. And I decided to keep on carrying on that torch and put that into my artwork.
Excellent. So I just took an art class and it was African art, one portion, the other part was about, Australian art. So what I was finding out was that the people there, especially in Australia, the indigenous people, they were darker skinned. And I was just blown away, especially with the art and their carvings and their drawings. But we don't see that part. So like I said, when we go to these museums, we're seeing European culture or cultures that's passed down, that these images are put there. But if we do our research and we understand and do the studies of it, the people were like us, they were like us. Exactly. And it's the people who made some of the greatest impacts, not to knock any other culture, but at the same time, we need to be exposed to our culture and how great we are.
Exactly. When you think about it like this, and before we move on, if you think about it like this, we claim, or America claims, that we are all united and that we are a body of people, right? So you look at the human body, you got your head, you got your limbs, you got your arms, you got everything, every vital, all of this stuff that's in your body. Wherever there's a deficiency in your body, it needs to be attended to. So if that means you need more iron, you need more protein, you need more this, then okay, everything else may be up to par, but you got to take the time out to build that part so that you can fully be functioning. So we going back now, we tying it into Black people in America, right? And when we tie it into Black people in America, there's a deficiency within Black people in this community, or in this nation called America, where we're supposed to be united. We don't have the same opportunities, or this, that, and the third, that other races and other cultures have. So the goal is to really, really tie down and focus on the lack thereof of what's in the Black community, to get us up to par with every other race, with every other culture that is thriving. And when we can do that, that's when now we can come back to the table and say, okay, this is the United States of America.
This is the united part.
This is equality. This is justice. So so no matter what, we can't look for an outside people to do it. We can't look for no one else. It's up for us, with our gifts, our talents, what God has blessed us with inside, to take that torch, run with it, and say, hey, we're going to apply this to our people and build our community up.
And so that brings me to another question, but it was supposed to be later on down the line. But since you said from within, I did look over it. Now, I wasn't 100% sure, but I saw Asia. So those are your illustrations, correct?
Yes. So Me, Myself, and Asia. Yes. So okay. Me, Myself, and Asia is a cartoon series that we are now pitching and trying to get onto HBO Max, Netflix, Disney, so forth, right? So what's happening at this point is we've been working, well, I'll go back to the beginning. We've been working on Me, Myself, and Asia for about 5 to 6 years now. And what I've seen at that time was there was a lack in I guess our image as far as cartoons on TV. I mean, we had the Proud Family back in 2005. We had the Boondocks. We had other things throughout the years, but we don't have nothing for this generation to say, hey, that's our Black cartoon right there. Yes. And the purpose and the aim, was to bring a modern perspective of what's now in 2020, 2021, so forth, of how we are as teenagers, and put a moral perspective to it. So when you talk about Me, Myself, and Asia stands as an individual to bring a moral perspective to her community, to her peers, to her family, to her friends. And we want people to see that with the aesthetics and the eclectic nature of her just being cool, of her being fun. And you see yourself at the same time when you watch Me, Myself, and Asia. So I said, you know what? The world needs this. This is something that, right now there's a drought within our community. And I think ultimately when young children, when they watch that, they'll find a sense of peace, a sense of humor, and a sense of resolve within that cartoon. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it'll be a classic. So
I absolutely love. She got a cool little look. I mean, I felt like I was like, wait a minute now. These look like my friends. When I was in high school or in middle school. So it's a great representation of us, and I think what she represents and what she wants to do, and like you said, changing the world inside out. And exactly. And that's I thought that was everything inside out.
Exactly. And before we move, it's like I said before, I go back to the point of imagery, right? I go back to the point of entertainment, what we see, what our eye captures. And that plays a part, either consciously or subconsciously, on our mind that actually projects how our activity will be. So when you think about it, and this is an analogy from back in the day in the 90s, right? Now you don't see so many people displaying so much love like that anymore, right? But that was like that in the 90s. Men were more vulnerable, right? Because of the songs that were playing on the radio, because of the music that they weren't afraid to put out, because a man was like, baby, please, take me back. I know I messed up, and the thing about that is, when we could sit there and now put a perspective or a light like that and beyond to a character like Asia, then people could be like, oh, I miss that. This is me. This is what I'm a part of. I am a civilized person. I am this, and I like to think beyond. I should be having these morals and these ways about me that's good and kind to other people. When they see that in cartoons, start to reflect because our children take on that.
Yeah.
When they cartoon, we talk about from Disney when they had the pink hair and everything. With these princesses, right?
Yeah.
So next thing you know, fast forward 2021, the girls wearing pink hair and red hair, this, that, and the third, and they really feel like, yo, I'm a doll, I'm a diva, I'm this, that, and the third.
Mhm.
So it's going to the thing that we have to realize is going to play a part at some point. It may not be this year, it may not be 5 years from now, it may be 10 or 15 or 20 years from now, but at least we know through our gifts and our talents that we're playing our role, we're playing a part, and we should have faith that throughout time things are going to change. So, and that's why we created Me, Myself, and I Asian.
I love it. So how did she appear? Like, what was the I mean, how did she come to you? What was the
Okay.
I got it?
So so basically, I was watching. It was me and my niece back in 2014. We were
Mm-hmm.
watching The Prince of Egypt, and that anybody who knows me, that know that's my favorite animated movie. And I was just like, man, this movie is so impactful. And then I started watching Princess and the Frog, and I was just like, the culture of this black girl from Louisiana. It was so spot on. It was just like,
Mm-hmm.
man, really showing a great light. I never seen Disney do anything like that. And then they did it, and then it was like at that time it stopped. We didn't see
Wow.
anything else at that point of a black cartoon being represented and so forth, or in a movie or on television like that. So
Mm-hmm.
my thing was like, Salaam, you're an artist. This is what you do. At that time we wanted to create children books, but then
Okay.
I said, you know what? Nah, I want this to go further. I want this to be in every home.
Mm-hmm.
I said children books have a potential of doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
I knew for me, I was like, being on TV, on television, this cartoon, it would have a deeper impact. So the pursuit changed from children book to animated movie to a cartoon series. And now that was the sequence. And from there, I wanted Asia to be like a staple. When you have Walt Disney, when he created Mickey Mouse, that was a staple for the cartoon world right there. And I wanted want Asia to be a staple for the black world, for us and our world as cartoons. So.
I definitely believe she can be. I mean, because like I say, when I looked at her, I said, "This is a cool little chick right here." Like it just resonated with me, and I'm not usually impressed with cartoons because I'm.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, no, I
Uh,
understand.
so how difficult is it for transitioning from painting to illustrating?
Got you. So I mean, it is a constant struggle. It's like there are so many different components within that. You have to, when we're talking about doing illustrations, cartoons like Me, Myself, and Asia, you can't go so deep and add so much detail. You can't. This it's a cartoon.
Mhm.
So getting back into the mindset of, okay, cartoon, make it free, make it a little flimsy, make it, you don't have, and that part is a struggle, especially when I just came from doing a hyper realism painting for somebody,
Okay.
a conceptual painting, for my catalog,
Okay.
so it takes a minute. Most times I give myself at least 2 days or 3 days to kind of like step back and be like, all right, now I'm ready to go to the illustration style side, because my full time job of what I do in my business, I'm a children's book illustrator. So
Okay.
I'm working on multiple children books right now from various authors. But at the same time, there are commissions of paintings that I have to go to, and there's my paintings that I have different companies wanting to see every single month. So the thing is, just like boom, boom, boom. You got to keep on going back and forth.
You
Yeah.
are truly thriving in this, and I just absolutely love it. I love it. So,
Thank
out
you.
of all your paintings, do you have a favorite, or is that hard for you?
That's hard.
I mean, they're so good. They're really
Yeah.
good.
I
So.
I would say man, it's a hard one. Man, so hmm. Well, here's the thing. I'll answer this question. I'll tell you what is the most popular painting, and then I'll tell you what is my most favorite painting. So the most popular painting is the balletic tomb. I did a music series back in 2014 called "She Is Music," and that was the second painting that I did out of that series. And from there, I think 3 years later, that's when it took off. I'm talking like hotcakes, you know.
My sister pulled out, and I was like, "No, that painting," like she was like, "Yeah, right." I'm like, "I know," but that's the one she ordered. That's the one she got.
That's the one she ordered. Yeah, that one is from every company. They tell me that one is the leading one right there. My favorite piece that I've painted, God, man, it's just so many. I would say honestly, Crown Me Lord, the woman version of Crown Me Lord.
Both of those get, they get 5 stars from me because that's our ultimate goal.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
the goal.
Yes. When I did Crown Me Lord, I was in a space in my mind where I said I just wanted to be a little bit more intentional on how I serve God, and I wanted to, put, not real direct messages in the painting, but at the same time, people know where I'm coming from. It could be aesthetically beautiful and relay a message at the same time. But I wanted to know that I'm doing this justice and God is pleased at the end of the day. So I took that time to create that series, and I did 4 paintings out of the series. And I just want, like I said, we were going back to the Metropolitan Art Museum. We see these pieces all over the place. We have Jesus on the cross. We have, the angels and Michelangelo, all of this stuff. And I was just like, well, let me go ahead and do some spiritual pieces here, and put it out there and let it circulate in the world. So that was, for me, I think, I had fun doing the piece, and not that, it meant so much to me for what I was going through at the time, and I knew it was going to make an impact in the world. So that's why that one is my favorite piece.
Wow. And that's a very intimate painting. That's you can tell, like, in that moment, it's like, this is giving me life and this eternity.
Exactly. And it's like one of the things that I wanted to relay in that message. We call each other, of course, which is the lingo commonly. We say king and we say queen. We like, that's, peace king or peace queen, or she's a queen. But I wanted to show like the real way that we become kings and we become queens if we submit to the king. And when we submit to the king in his direction, then we really on our game now. We're really on the top, So we are that by nature, but you see the blindfolds coming off our eyes, and you see that, of course, she was lost before. She didn't know who she was as a person. She didn't know her worth, her nature. But when she took the blindfold is coming off her eyes. She's looking up, and she's looking up at the king about wanting to crown her, and now she realizes, oh, okay, I was running all along. This is the king.
Right. That's some power right there. That's awesome. And I think it's so magnificent that through a painting that a life can be changed.
Yes.
A mind can be changed. A heart can be changed. And and through a painting, a family can be changed. Like that's powerful. Exactly. So shows and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, since COVID, I haven't done any shows, but of course, I still haven't gotten to the mode of doing like, virtual shows. I see certain artists that do that. I didn't get into that yet. I might, I'll explore that later, but I'm doing my thing. It's working out for me. But before that, COVID, I definitely was doing shows. I got 6 solo shows under my belt. I have there's different shows like the Black Art in America, the Harlem Fine Art Festival. You got the Essence Festival. Different art shows that various artists from all over the world come to showcase their art. I've been going there, the BAM Festival in Brooklyn, and having my art. So those were always. I honestly still feel like those are the most secure ways at this point to get yourself out there, to get your work, because we're dealing with real time right now, right? Like if we were in person and you was to see a product that I have, my artwork, is different from looking at it from a computer screen. You're like, wow, this is, oh my God, I can feel the texture. Yo, this is life right here, And the thing is, you have more people that's going to gravitate to that versus being on social media where they'll look at the art and it's easy to just save it as a screensaver to your phone. So you
Yeah.
feel like you have it already, right? But you forget or don't even realize that this is an actual product, you
Yes.
know, that does wonders, and that is have many components to it if it's hung up on your wall in your home, you know. So being at those shows, the people who know that, and even the people who don't know that, they become knowers of that when they finally are in person, you know, looking at the art. And then it's word of mouth from there. Your name just circulate. They be like, "Oh, I want to invite you to this, and my people, here's my card. I want to host a show for you." All kinds of things, you know. So those are the best realities.
So I'm having and I'll have to probably talk to you offline. I just had a vision, and so have you ever done like collaborations with somebody who maybe who do um fashion, like
Okay.
art and fashion, maybe on a runway at the same time or anything like that? Have you?
I have not done that. The only opportunity, and it wasn't that. It was more so. I think there was a couple of poets that wanted me to, you know, get up on stage with them and, you know, do some paintings while they go ahead and perform their poetry. You know, so that was something that was offered to me a couple of years ago, but I never did anything involving, you know, me as an artist with painting and someone who's into fashion where that merged together. So that would be a new one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long does a painting take you?
A painting, it all depends. Technically, it depends on the complexity of it and depending on the size of it. So, the for example, let's say a portrait of you at a 16 by 20. That would be, it would
Now, you
take
can't talk about it without painting it.
a paint. Oh man, don't hold me to it. Come on.
I know you're busy.
So basically, that is like that would take maybe a good 3 weeks to complete. Like if I'm working on it every single day, that
Okay.
would take 3 weeks. If I'm not and I have other things, I normally give a 2 month, 2.5 month window to get something done like that. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah.
So, what does success look like for you?
Mm, that's a broad.
It really is.
So, success is defined to me as balance. Um, you know, me coming from a family who, you know, somewhat is what seems to be a broken family, you know, and coming from an environment where it's, of course, poverty and the lack thereof and not having and opportunities are not there and so forth. You know, the goal for me is to show people, you know, not just from the aspect of myself, to show people like, hey, we can make it through this talent right here that they say that's not really promoted like that. You know, the basic things that are promoted are, you know, what you're gonna make it is a lawyer, you're a doctor, you this, you that. These are the stereotypes of careers, you know. And when someone feel like they're gonna go after that, then they feel like, okay, they're gonna make it in the world of success. Success to me is bringing about the balance. Wherever you have a deficiency at within your life and your family life, or there's generational curses, the goal is now for us to take on, like I said, take on a torch and be able to say, well, I'm going to make sure that that generational curse does not exist anymore. It stops with me, right? And that's the level of success for me. So when we talk about happy family, when we talk about, you know, having you know, homes, a wife, you know what I'm saying, having children, having healthy children, having good schools, you know, not looking over our shoulder and looking up at the cloud over our head as wondering where we're gonna get our next meal from, you know. So these things that we lack or have lacked within our family dynamic, the success to me is being able to bridge that gap and bring a balance to it, so that and pass something down to my children, their children, and beyond, so that they never have to experience what we've experienced and they face new trials now.
Yeah.
That's success to me, you know.
Excellent. Excellent. I love that answer. You know, so what is your dream project?
My dream project. That's deep. I don't think I ever thought of that.
Yeah.
my dream project. I think I had something in mind a while back. My dream project. What I wanted to do was I wanted to do a big painting, and I wanted to show like like one thing about me is I study us and I study our people. So I study the common trends of what we look like today versus what we look like 15, 20, 30, 100, 200, 500 years ago, right? And I study from our aesthetics to our makeup to what we wear, how we act, how we respond to looks in our faces. And I say, I wanted to create a painting where I can take people of today and put them into an environment where they're realizing something of what we would call the hereafter.
Mm.
No matter what you wear, no matter how you look, no matter what we have so many, all these paintings where we see people in a garden, this and the third, where they got robes. It's all kind of the same in a way, right? Mm-hmm. But God is not, he's not judging us in a sense where it's like, okay, well, you got makeup, you doing it, you wearing this and that and the third. He's looking at our heart, He's looking at what we do for our people, what we do for one another, how we are in our character and our morals. So the basic thing is to show that the average person like you and I, who some people may not even believe in certain religions, they may not be a hardcore follower of this or God, but they have the character of one who probably been practicing religion forever. They have the mindset, the spirit. See, now there's noise in my background.
It's okay.
So, they have the spirit, and these are the ones that God chooses. And so I wanted to do a painting where you can see the aspect of the hereafter with all of us how we look today in the 21st century, in that space right there. Wow. That's a dream painting of mine.
I love that.
Thank you.
Wow. So when you're done with the painting, how do you know you're done?
How do I know I'm done? I think once I realized like I've captured the core concept that I initially started off with in my mind, that's when I know I'm done. The paint, one thing I get stuck with sometimes is going from, okay, is this super perfect here? You know what I mean? And did I meet my mark with the concept? But realizing that, people, what they dwell to, or what they dwell in, or what they gravitate to is a concept. What pops out to them more, what pulls them in. It may not have to be perfection, So I know I'm done when I know I can go to that painting a day later and be like, oh snap, this just hit me. This now done. So when it does that for me, I know that I'm done. Is that when it's hitting me? If it's not hitting me, if I don't feel it, and I go back to it and it's not a wow factor, I know I'm not done. I know I have to do something different now. Maybe it's a background change. Maybe I got to take this out and put this in, so different things like that.
Wow. So this is a guest question. Do you do murals, which is kind of something you just described for your dream?
Mm-hmm.
So have you done a mural?
I've done murals before. I've done a mural in our mosque in Mosque 7 in New York City. It's for the children's room down there, and I did a nice mural of the sun in the background and mountains and trees and things of that nature, where of course the children could go in there and they can experience that vibe, that environment, and be in their element when they're doing their work and having fun. So I did that mural. Another mural that I did, this was a mural that was asked of me. I grew up in the foster care system. So basically, one of my counselors at the time wanted me to come into the building where she worked at. And she wanted me to do this big mural on the wall that they had. And the mural was basically like, you have, of course, being that it's child services and so forth, you have children holding hands. You have this collective group of children who smiles on their faces. They're happy, from all different cultures, Black, white, Asian, you name it, so doing that was actually my first mural that I did, and I've done big projects before. Like I've done, like right now, and I'm working on a painting that's about 9 feet tall, and this stuff right now, when it's done, is going to get shipped to him. He's going to put it up on his wall. So technically it might be considered a mural, but because it's that big. But at the end of the day, of course, people will want you to come into their home and on a wall, the space that they have, do a mural there. So it's not too many of those that I've done, but the latter I have done.
Oh, wow. Very nice. So do you sell any of your originals?
I do. I do. And, it's interesting. Last year and this year has been the year that I've come across so many different collectors that have now like invested into my artwork, and I just knew it was a matter of time. But it seemed like every time I'm done with a piece, I have one collector who's like, "I want this," and it sells. So
Have you had someone like, I want that whole collection?
not yet. Not yet.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. I
It's
believe.
coming.
I believe
Definitely.
that. Hey, that day would be great. That's gold right there. That's something that man, that's a dream of many artists. We got a whole collection here. You have one collector who comes and say, "Back it up. I want all of this." In this series here. Yeah, that's a blessing.
Well, so what's the range, the price range for your originals?
So the original can range between 5,000 to 15,000. So yeah, it can range from 5 to 15,000. That's on average. I mean, and of course that's different from if a person is contacting me and they want a commission that is super super complex. Then it's like, okay, now we're getting into a different figure, a different ball game here. But from my originals, 5 to 15. And that's it. I pray one day that I get to that point where I'm like, well, you know what? I can now have these pieces or these paintings when I'm done so exclusive that that person who is a multi-millionaire comes along, and I know I want that type of audience or that type of person to buy my pieces. There's so many different tiers of my art where you have the embellished canvas prints, you have canvas prints, you have the regular lithograph and fine art prints on watercolor paper, you name it. So there's different tiers of how you can have the art, and for the various different prices that's suitable to your pockets. But when we talk about an original, that's an original. That's a one time.
I definitely. I mean, like I say, the quality of work that you do. Anything less than 5,000 would be selling yourself short.
Yeah, and it took me a minute to realize that, because I wasn't always that my art was always compelling like that, but my mind wasn't there to be like, okay, price it like this. I was, truth be told, at that point I was scared. I was just like, I don't know if people are going to bite off of this, right? But as I mentioned before earlier in a conversation, I'm only thinking from a limited mind of the people that I knew around me.
That's it.
I'm not thinking like, okay, well, we got black elites out here. We got white people that's like, yo, they love black art. I'm thinking like, okay, this average.
Taking that class, those were the collectors of African art. Those, I'm gonna say collectors.
Yeah. See, I didn't know none of that starting off. I really thought like, okay, man, I'm thinking in my head like, man, white people sell art that get millions and millions of dollars. I just didn't think like someone like me, Salaam Muhammad, growing up in the hood and this, that, and third, could create paintings. And you have collectors who are like, no, we want this. I didn't think that was possible. I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to settle for the little $200, $300 here and there, and
it's because no one has ever, like, people don't say you're valuable.
Exactly.
But when you think about it, you're the only you.
You
are the only you. Nobody else can do what you do, how you do.
Yeah.
Even though other people are painting, but only Salaam Muhammad painted that picture.
Yeah.
When you
put it like that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. So Denise says she's coming for the originals, period.
Okay.
Period. She's manifesting that she's going to buy a whole collection.
Hey, I look forward. And I'll know it's you when you come. So
yeah, yes. That's my sister. That's the one who bought the painting or the print. And
I said thank you. Thank you very much for having one of my pieces in your home. I never take it for granted, and it's an honor to me when anybody has my artwork on their wall. So thank you very much.
Definitely. She said soon.
Soon. I'll be around. You just let me know.
Definitely. So where do you paint, and what's an inspirational place for you?
Inspirational place. Um, Sometimes I have to. I may watch certain movies.
Mhm,
Uh, a lot of movies that captivate me now are these, of course, the black movies that empower us, black movies that tell our story, that has great endings to them, and when I think about that, and then I go, or maybe I'll watch like a great movie or something, And for me, from an artist standpoint, I'm looking at the director, him as an artist. I'm looking at the cast, and I'm looking at the actors and them as an artist. And I'm like, man, I'm about to go and paint this picture where I'm gonna capture something so great. It's gonna attract to my audience, or the
mhm.
audience, just like how I watched this movie and it attracted to me. So it inspires me when anytime I see something great in the category of art, from film to paintings,
Mhm.
whatever it is, it just inspires me now to say, reach deep within and create something great. And now I just get to the wheels start going,
I
and I
love
get to that point. Yeah.
Wow. So, when did you realize, and I know you know this without anybody ever telling you, when did you realize you were a leader?
Mm. Um, that's interesting. I mean, I guess like being like I said, being in a nation, and then listening to Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and listening to how his leadership is, and then him expressing and explaining and leading us in a direction of how we all are leaders, And so when I understood that from that perspective, I'm testing the waters now, So I'm going out, and now I'm speaking the word to different people, and I'm putting those messages within my art. And I was just like, wow, he just passing the torch to all of us here. And I'm just like, well, hey, I'm gonna go ahead, and I realized, okay, that power is within me. I didn't realize that before. I'm just thinking like, because truth be told, I had low self-esteem when I was younger, very low self-esteem. I picked on the whole nine, and it was like I'm thinking I'm just as great as just being a talented person, just my art. But when I
Mhm,
started to understand who I am behind the art, that's
mhm.
when I was like, okay, I have a leadership role here. I have a mission in life to continue leading through the art and leading through other aspects, and that's when I realized, like, okay, that's in me, that leadership mindset, that character of me, and I'm gonna keep on being.
Excellent. I love it. Isn't it empowering? I got picked on too, as a child. And it's like, you and I went through the phase of low self-esteem and all that. But when you realize, like, I have value, like,
Yeah,
I'm priceless. Like, and it's nobody can take that from you once you get that. It,
yeah,
it's amazing. It's
exactly,
amazing.
exactly.
So, who do you feel needs the gifts that you bring?
Who do I feel needs the gifts that I bring?
Mhm.
I'm trying to understand the question more. Like a person, or like just
You are the gift.
uh-huh.
Who do you believe needs what you have to offer?
Got you. Well, I would say from just from a collective standpoint, us as a people, whatever I have to offer, as any gift or talent that's in me, it comes from God. And primarily, whatever comes from God that's in me has to be given to our people. It has to be spread. It cannot be hoarded in me. It cannot be there, and me being selfish to it. I have to share it because it enlightens us now. We are, of course, as it says in scripture, we as a people, we are the rejected and despised. As Black people, the whole world do not see us in our value in who we are. So basically, it's like I said from the beginning, our job is to, with our gifts and our talents, is to continue to share that and inspire others who may have a talent like mine, and a gift like mine, but don't really believe in themselves like that. So when I could see another artist, or I could see someone else who has a similar background to me, the goal is to now inspire him and be like, hey, brother, this is where I came from. I was right there with you, watching people getting killed left and right, and drugs and all that. And but I decided to make a decision for myself, a choice, and take my art to the next level, and now continue that message and allow that light to shine. So the goal is to spread that amongst our people, and empower. Just continue to empower.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So fun questions or just kind of some quick questions for you.
Okay, talk to me.
What's one thing that's on your bucket list?
One list that's on my bucket. Man, I should be really writing this stuff down and thinking about these things. One thing that's on my bucket list. I want to go to Egypt.
Definitely.
Yeah, I want to go to Egypt. I probably would never have thought I would tell anybody this, but I just got my passport during COVID. Like it took about 4 months for it to happen, But when I got it, I was just like, hey, I got my passport. So I feel so connected to that part. I feel like there's so when I get there, there's so much more that is going to resonate with me. For some reason, I just have that feeling, and I want to go into the pyramids and look at the hieroglyphics on the wall. I want to see all of that and feel it and touch it and get into the space in the mind that the ancient people were in at that point. And as an artist, those were artists. As an artist, I do believe and know that I can connect with them. So that's a bucket list of mine. That's on the bucket list.
You said a lot because, like I said, I was taking that art class, and they were storytellers. They left a trail of stories, like, and all over Africa. It was just empowering. It was amazing. And what I found out about the art, I mean, just the different parts, where the gold was, and in certain areas where they felt like the spirituality and the power, and putting it in, statues and things like that. It was enlightening. And all over Africa, it's amazing art. And they were storytellers. So you're going to connect when you go. You're going to connect.
I believe that. That's why it's on my bucket list. So I'm going to make sure it happened before the end of this year, possibly before the end of this year.
Definitely. And getting your passport is like, I'm free. I can go anywhere.
Yeah. It was like, yo, I could, I'm not confined to this anymore. So
mine is about to expire, so I really need to renew it. So
it's liberating,
It is.
Yeah.
So what do you believe gives you strength?
My purpose. Of course, God gives me strength. Understanding the time that we live in, understanding, like, when you understand, for me, when I understand the world, that we live in, and what's going on, and the killings and the unjust realities, what gives me strength, I start to realize what role constantly that I have to play in a dark hour like this, and if I'm down, if I'm low, if I'm not feeling good, if I'm depressed, if I'm, I start thinking like, hold on, Salaam, you still have a mission to uphold here, and it immediately reminds me of who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing in this time, and that gives me strength. So,
yeah, you can't hold the line up because it's a lot of people.
Exactly.
It's a lot of people behind you.
Yeah, exactly. And that the thing is realizing, like, hey, you in your personal life, like, you may think you're the only one going through something, but someone's going through something, of course, worse. And the people around you that's not saying nothing, they may be going to similar things or worse, or something that they constantly have been dealing with for years, And when you realize that you're not the only one, you start to reflect on the good and the great things that God has blessed you with in your life. If you could wake up every day and I got my lights is on, I paid my bills, I got my art is still here, I got money in the bank and this, that, I got a family, I could call my mother and my father, everything, when you start reflecting on those things, it gives you strength and to endure and continue on with the race of life.
I love that. And then when you look and say, I still got art supplies, so I can recreate or create.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good feeling. Yeah.
I mean, I was a hairstylist for 20 plus years, and sometimes, people don't understand if you don't have your supplies, you feel like you can't make that money, or you can't move to the next place. But when you got your supplies, it's like I'm ready.
Powers, it's like your superpowers. I tell you, my art was in. So I moved back up. I was in Atlanta in 2018, and then I moved back to Pennsylvania, in the end of 2018. But I had my paintings were in storage, and my art supplies were in storage for about a year and a half. Probably the longest year and a half ever. I didn't do a painting for a year and a half, and I was just like, man, am I ever going to make it back down? There was so much going on in my life at the time. I was once married, all of that. And it was just like, I don't know if I'm going to make it back down. I don't even know if I'm going to pick up the paintbrush again and start doing paintings, so much that was happening. So you feel powerless, you feel like, okay, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? What other vehicle do I have to relay this message, or what's inside of me too? Through you can express yourself through hair, through doing hair, to making people feel good, and this, that, and that's like that gives you strength, that gives you life. Same thing as an artist, and when you're voided of that, you're like, man, you gotta scratch that itch and make it happen. So
I shifted my art to something different. My art now is acting. So I have to create some way, somehow.
That's real. Yeah. That's good. That's a great form of art. Like these form of arts is doing something for the people. One thing I know, the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan said that with our gifts and our talents, we have to be mindful that we are giving a service to the people. So when you as an actor, when you act and you giving that people are drawn in from an emotional standpoint, from all different aspects, and they're just like, man, I'm impacted, from your performance right there. And that, believe it or not, it could change somebody's life in a minute. Somebody could have been contemplating certain things and wanting to do this, but they're calmer now. They're resolved. They're thinking more things because they see the joy of you, and that energy just went right off to them. So
definitely, and that's another reason why I do open vibes as well, because so many people in so many different areas of gifting, and I just want to shed lights on any area of gifting that God has blessed you with, and you share with other people who may not have the gift, but they may not feel empowered by their gift yet, or they may not understand their gift fully. So just to give them some life and hope and faith.
Yeah. So to what you just said, one thing the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan teaches us is that everybody has a gift.
Yes.
Everybody has a gift. The trial of that is really understanding that this is a gift and now mastering it. We live in a world where we focus on the stereotypes of gifts. We focus on, okay, she's a good actor, he's a good singer, he's a good artist, this is a good Disney. Oh, that's talent, right? But most people don't look at the stuff that they are great at that nobody else can do. And when you look at that and say, okay, I'm extremely exceptional in it, that's a gift. The goal now is to now master it and bring it to another level. So we can't get caught up in what the world predicts as gifts. God has given each and every last one of us a gift to make an impact, and you just have to accept that this is the gift. Some of us are just for outside things, we like, I just want a gift because I want my gift to be like this, or to be like you got to accept what you have. And one of the main, I was going to say this earlier, the goal is to be the best version of you. Right? If you look at, if you study instruments, what makes an instrument different from another instrument, it's not going to sound the same as the other instrument. When you hear that other instrument, it brings a different feel to you. It's like you could be listening to the saxophone and then you go to listen to the piano. These are two different sounds right here.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's the saxophone is not trying to be like the piano, and the piano is not trying to be like the saxophone. So it's best at what its nature is created for. So when you understand that, okay, for example, speaking of myself, my name is Salaam Muhammad, right? And this is my gift. This is who I am. I can't be like nobody else. I got to be like me.
Yeah.
And I have to master that to where when you master something, it sheds a light that people have to humbly submit to, And that's when you know, like, okay, I have a gift. I'm owning who I am, and this is me. We don't even realize someone else is trying to be just like you, you know?
And the beauty of the gifts is,
Mhm.
like you said, the saxophone, the piano, they
Mhm.
complement each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
They
Yep.
complement each other. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's a good point.
So, what type of things give you peace of mind? I know we've taken it over the hour, but I have questions, and I'm not going to keep you too much longer. But
Okay.
what gives you a peace of mind?
The peace of mind. I guess just one of the things that give me a peace of mind is knowing that my goals and my purpose, like I said, my purpose in life is just still there. I personally have gone through so much, and sometimes it's on the verge of like, man, I don't even know myself anymore. I don't even know my purpose. I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. And then you just feel lost.
Mhm.
But the peace of mind comes in is when you can like regroup. So like I regroup in my head, in my mind, or I find other sources. I go into my books, I go into the Bible, I go into the Quran, I go into lecture series, and it gives me a peace of mind. One of the things, another major thing that gives me a peace of mind, as I constantly keep speaking of, is listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And when I listen to that man speaks, he speaks life into us as a people. And it lets me know, like, man, literally, I'm not the only one here. Everybody is going through this, and he gives you a remedy and a way out of how to deal with these situations. So I look to individuals and people such as him, and him primarily because he's anointed in that way to give us that guidance that will give us the peace of mind. And when I listen to that man after that, I'm like, man, I'm good. I was tripping in the past, but I'm straight now, and
Yeah.
I just get up, I go to work, and I make things happen. So
Excellent.
that's what gives me peace of mind,
Excellent. I know I wake up every day, and I have certain people that I do listen to, and and some people like, well, have you tried this person? You try? I'm like, no, 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 because I have to. I always tell people, if you eat too much, you'll get sick. So I don't eat from everybody's plate. I have teachers and leaders and deposit something good every single day. And to take you, like you said, you're good to that next level.
The goal, like you said, the goal is to digest the food, and when you digest the food, all the nutrients, everything and components going into your body where you can perform better now. But if you forcing so much on you, you're gonna throw up.
That's it. That's it.
And you're not going to be able to perform the way you want to perform. So, the best thing to do when we receive knowledge is application, is apply the knowledge, and when you apply the knowledge, we realize how so much more gets done with just this little bit of knowledge that we got, because it seems like it's a whole world of things, within that. So, it's one step at a time. And what people see on the outside looking in, it makes the world better. I could have a soup kitchen around the corner. And that's just something that I might just do every day. When someone sees that, it's making a world of difference. And that's maybe something of a guidance that I got from maybe a spiritual leader or something of a book or whatever that is now motivating me in that direction. So it's a one step at a time thing of inspiration that allows us to become and be better.
And that brings that balance, and then you're successful.
You're right. You're right.
So tell me 3 fun facts about you.
3 fun yeah. Three fun facts. 3 fun facts about me. Let me see. I don't know. I'm trying to think of there's probably many fun things about me. I'm just trying to think of examples of what a fun thing just might be. 3 fun things about me. God, hey. I mean, I don't know if working out is a fun thing. I'm a workout. Like I love to work out. Like
that is fun.
We get off this call, I'm going to the gym. Yeah. So that's a fun fact. I mean, that always had been a remedy with me. That always had been something that I just love doing. My father has always since I was 15 years old, even younger, had weights and workout things in the house and stuff. And I think it just got in my head where, when I turned 15 and 16, I started working out, and I was just like, man, this is going to be me for the rest of my life. Like, I just love getting in the gym and just, releasing and just, gaining strength and doing things that I know it makes me feel better, keeping my health up. So that's a fun, that's number one. Let me see. Number two, fun fact. God, what is another fun fact about
You
me?
like to travel.
Huh?
You like to travel.
Ideally, I love to travel. Like, I haven't traveled so much, but ideally, I love to travel. Like, I can't wait. And this year and beyond is the year where I'm about to just explore everything. There was so much happening in the last couple of years where I just never made that reality, come into fruition. So now it's different, but I believe that would be, future speaking, number two of the fun factor.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And number three, I like singing. I like sing.
Can you sing?
Yeah. You want me to sing? Nah, I can't do
No,
that.
I'm not gonna do that to you because I can't sing at all. Like, so anytime somebody can sing, I'm like, sing, But
no, so I pursued music before I pursued art.
Okay.
Yeah, before I pursued painting and stuff. So when I was 18, I was signed under a management label under Universal Records, and I was a songwriter and a vocalist for the various artists that were on that management label right there. So that was something that I did. That was another fun fact about me, and I do it almost all the time, but I don't pursue it like that. I just do it.
Am I out? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? What about, can you hear me? Good.
I can hear you. I was going out, so I thought it was me that was going out.
Okay, I can hear you. It did freeze for a second. Okay. Yeah, it did freeze. For a second. So yeah, singing. That's a third fun fact of mine. I love to sing. Yeah.
That is a fun fact. So last thing, and we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up with.
Okay.
What do you want to leave people with? Something positive, whatever you want to leave them with.
Mm-hmm. Like when I leave this earth, or you talking about like right now after this?
Now, empowering, something empowering to encourage them to move to the next place.
Okay. Something empowering to know that God is the ultimate author, and whatever you are going through today, know that tomorrow can become a completely brand new day that you don't even see coming. And this is the power of God, and this is how he works. So never give up on yourself and never give up on what you're doing, because in that day and in that moment or reality or time in your life, things are not working out right. Know that these things are just dispensations of time. These are increments of time, and that time changes. And at a certain point, what you were going through yesterday or 5 years ago, your life will be 100% different from that point on if you make up your mind and determine that. But know that that is a reality. Never get caught up or stuck in the mode of depression or the mode of things are not going right at this current time. Know that for many, if you heard many different people's story, you would know that the majority of people, like, for example, Tyler Perry, living in his car, he couldn't see 2021 and the day where he's so successful right now. He probably had faith that he would be, but he didn't see the extreme level where he's at right now. So know that we all have that we all have the capacity to get to that level and higher in our lives, for whatever that looks like. Whether it's fame, whether it's family, whatever we want for ourselves, know that that day is promised if we have faith, hold on, believe, and keep on moving.
Amen. Amen. This has been an exceptional hour. I'm so grateful for your time. I don't take it lightly. Mm-hmm. So thank you so very much. That's a powerful word. It's just temporary, you guys. It's momentary.
Exactly. Just temporary. Thank you. I appreciate being on your show. It's an
Yeah.
honor. You know, I was rushing to get to this desk.
It's okay. We'll have to get you back because I had so many more questions.
Hey,
So
I'll be willing.
excellent. Well, that's an honor for me as well.
Absolutely.
All right. So, all right, you guys, we will see you next time. Have a great night.